Good morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with Netgear. Today's host is Jordan Cooper, and he is their Territory Account Manager, and he will be presenting today. If anyone has any questions, please submit them in the question box, and Jordan will answer them at the end of today's presentation. Jordan, thank you so much for being with us today. It's always a pleasure hosting with you. I am finished for now. Please go ahead and take it on over.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Julie. Thanks, everybody, for joining today's call. I appreciate you taking the time out. Today, we're going to be talking about Insight Pro. I did a previous presentation on this a while back, so if you are familiar with it, will be a good refresh. If you're not familiar with it, hopefully you'll see what we have to offer and try it out yourself. So. Wanted to also mention that I am not an engineer by any means, but I do know enough to be dangerous and to break some stuff. So when the time comes to answering the questions, I'll do my very best. If there's any answers or if there's any questions that I don't know the answers to, I will let you know, but we'll take those as they come. So let's go ahead and begin. So real quick, I don't believe in death by PowerPoint. This will be just kind of one big presentation with more information getting added to the screen as we go on. I wanted to jot some notes down very briefly, just so you could be a little bit more familiar. Netgear started in 1996. We have a little over 800 employees. Just did, I think, for last year, I think we did about $1 billion in revenue. So it means we're small enough to care, but large enough to make an impact on the networking world. We mainly sell 3 product categories. A lot of you are probably going to be familiar with our home products. It's going to be our Nighthawks and our Orbis. We're very well known for that, as 70% of the world's routers are a Netgear router. But we're also very big in the small to medium business, or the SMB field, and with Mural. And some kind of cool facts is 50% or more of the switches sold worldwide belong to Netgear. So we have a big play in the market, and people are very well familiar with our switches. In fact, 2/3 of all networking traffic in the small to medium business category go through a Netgear switch, which is cool to know. The biggest things at Netgear, what we want to do and what we pride ourselves on doing, is meeting 3 categories: reliable, affordable, and easy to use. And we'll talk a little bit about each one of those here in a minute. So that's kind of just Netgear, some information just for you to have some FYI type stuff. But let's talk about the Insight Pro. And this is a big foundation that Netgear has built. So at this time, we do offer a cloud network management system called Insight. Insight is capable of managing switches to access points as well as routers. And so the biggest takeaway from this is since this is all cloud managed, it's all in the actual device itself. There's not any cloud key or any third hardware that needs to be installed in order to manage these. These are all actually built into the devices themselves. One question we commonly get asked is, if I have an old switch, if I update it to the latest firmware, or is there a firmware update that I can do to have the Insight? And the answer to that is no. It's actually something built inside the switch itself. So you would need to get either a new switch or a new access point or a new router. And it's not just a firmware update, unfortunately. But that's a big common one. So let's talk about the challenges and kind of some of these the trends in today's networking realm. One of the biggest trends we notice is an increase in SDN, or software-defined management. This is where you're bringing more hardware management into the software side comes into play. Another trend is increase in networking complexity. There are a lot of devices that are getting added to networks. I read an interesting article last week that said 10 years ago, the average home had about 10 to 12 devices average that would be connected to a network. And the average now is 35 plus. I mean, I myself, as somebody who loves to have that networking stuff, I know I have probably about 70. So quite a lot. So it just adds more of that complexity, both on the wireless and wired side. And lastly, there's a high demand for multi-site management. And having all these different sites really makes a difference, having a remote setup and configuration ability, both on the wired and wireless side, so you can be in multiple places at once. In the switching category here, let's pull this up. There we are. We see an increase in speed or bandwidth in PoE. Right now we are on PoE++ is kind of the latest trend, or Ultra PoE as some have coined it. And we also are seeing a demand for like multi-gig switches. With your Wi-Fi 6 access points, things are just getting faster, stronger, and better. And with that, obviously becomes more bandwidth is needed. Another thing that we're seeing is an increase in cloud-based applications running in the small to medium business locations. A lot of people are adopting these cloud things, whether that's your cloud servers, cloud management. It's just a lot easier to take everything off site and put it into the cloud. And obviously, due to the new digital age, like I just mentioned, we're seeing an increase of those users, increase in devices, and with the increase of this, things that are a big factor are pricing and warranty. Usually are a big factor when people are looking to buy anything on the wireless side, and that kind of ties in with how Netgear really notices that pricing and warranty and even capability and feature sets are kind of the top of the mind when it comes time to buying your products. And that's where Netgear will come into play and has a big market in that, because we feel we meet all of those with some of our solutions. In fact, I'd say we meet with all of them. And then lastly, again, people are liking the cloud management capability. It's a trend that's coming. You know of a lot of big names that are already out there that are doing it, and there's a reason for it. Now, if we're talking on the wireless side, there is an increase in micro businesses or work from home, as a lot of people coined it. I am working from home myself, so I think a lot of us can probably relate to this, especially since the post-COVID. But corporate business customers can sign up with a program, so the same MSP with their IT managers can manage all homebound workers using Insight Pro, which is great to see. That was one of the biggest concerns with working from home is, hey, how can I manage and how can I make sure that things are up to par as they were in the office as they are at home? And using Insight Pro, you have that capability. The increase of device demand, wireless capacity, efficiency, things like video streaming, all of these contribute in workplaces to the multiplication of connected devices, which are likely to increase. I think right now the current 10 billion is what there's about how many wireless devices out there. There's currently about 10 billion, and it's anticipated to be like 21 billion by the end of this year. So it's growing like crazy. We do also see file sizes, right? The development of file formats into more advanced ones. I mean, things like that pop into my mind are going to be like your HD, 4K, 8K now, right? You got the VR, AI, 3D, all these stuff are just becoming more and more prevalent and are increasing the need for bandwidth for these streamings and for faster file transfers and uploads and read and writes. So we got a lot of that going on. There's also, we get busy. So there's time management is a big factor. And, we all want to spend less time doing things like monitoring and troubleshooting and management. The The more we can set it and forget it and just let it run, the better. So when it comes time to those things, you got to have things that are like easy to install and point and click type stuff and easy to access. You're not having to jump through a whole lot of hoops. If you're down, if your site is down, it's costing you money. And so you want something that can be easily repairable, or troubleshooting can be quick and easy as well. And Netgear fits that bill very well. Let's see here, just scroll down a little, sorry. Then lastly, there it goes. Security, that's also a big one. As more and more internet devices appear on the network, there's a greater risk for security, for a security threat. And so anything that can help prevent that will greatly help. And the Insight management that we have, the cloud management, does take that into account and does have some great security features, not only for internal networks, but for guest networks as well too. So you can help really separate that traffic between internal and guest networks. Then if we go on, let's see here. Okay, so now let's talk about kind of the routing challenges that we're kind of seeing. Many businesses are managing and configuring their own network, especially the small, managers there. You wear multiple hats, and so they're managing their own networks. And choosing a router is really important. And excuse me, as daily life, modern life increases, we continue to rely on digital data security and protection, like a VPN. That's and nowadays is becoming needful, especially working from home. You're going to VPN to the office. And in today's collaboration between switching and network security and VPN and remote and all these things, these only really it all focuses around the same thing, and that's going to be the router, right? The big factor into all those things is having a great router. This would be a good time to kind of maybe ask yourself is, hey, what challenges are if you're facing anything with your setup and if you have a cloud management solution, what are some of the problems that you're kind of facing with, and what are the challenges that you are facing with your current solution, and what are some things you like and some things you don't like? Because this is where we get into the fun stuff of why I say everybody should and probably has a need for Insight Pro with Netgear. Maybe they just don't know it yet. So let's take a look at the Netgear solutions. With the switches, right? We have a wide selection of switches and access points as far as the new access points with Wi-Fi 6. We even have new Wi-Fi 6E access points that have come out, and it just gets better and better. We have remote management of these, as well as a router. We'll talk about the routing one here in a minute, just because that has changed just recently. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. But the Insight Pro is an end-to-end cloud networking solution with a 1 year included on devices. And I want to say now we have actually upped that to a limited lifetime warranty on all our devices that have Insight capable, which means it is, once it goes end of life, we will still warranty that and honor any issues with that for the next 5 years. And just more information about how Insight Pro, not only will it set up and monitor and manage the wireless networks, but it also does a great thing of it simplifies it, and it makes it all really easy to use. And then when we talk about total cost of ownership, or TCO, Insight provides a great overall over that course of the life of that network. By the time next time you're going to have to rip and replace for the next latest and greatest stuff that comes out, we have a great total cost of ownership between that and at a great price point. When we're talking about our switches from anything from your edge to core, unmanaged to fully managed, our switching portfolio is probably the most comprehensive one of the entire market. From 5 ports, fast Ethernet, if anybody's still using those, to core rack switches, where we're talking about 10 gig, 25 gig, 40 gig, maybe even 100 gig, right? Getting into that QSFP plus type stuff. Our switches deliver performances at a fraction of what your traditional vendors would cost without compromising in quality or features. We offer the Smart Manage Pro option, with key factor being here is the optional cloud. A lot of competitors out there, if you have them in mind, that we would know, require you to have this license, have a certain license, otherwise it's not going to work if you don't pay this fee. Not ours. Ours is 100% optional. You can activate it at any time. If you activate it and then you choose not to renew it, but then 6 months down the road or 3 years down the road, you decide, hey, I want that back, it can easily be reactivated again. And there it is. There's our limited lifetime warranty, which covers the power supply, fan. Again, even if it goes end of life, we can we'll still honor it for the next 5+ years, 5 years, and then also with the NBD, or next business day replacement, which saves, ultimately will save you time and money down the road. On the wireless side, we have, like I kind of mentioned briefly, a large selection of access points, from standalone single point solutions to multi-gig mesh capabilities. This is where the Wi-Fi 6 comes into play. If you're not familiar with the Wi-Fi 6, I hope most everybody should be at this point. But if you're not, or Wi-Fi 6E, maybe you're not familiar with Wi-Fi 6E, go and take a look at it. It's getting just better and faster every day. When it comes time, our WAC and WAX, the WAC means it's a wireless AC access point, which was the previous version. WAX is the Wi-Fi 6 access point. And then you have WAXE. This is a little bit dated. It needs to be added to the WAXE, which is Wi-Fi 6E. But all of our access points, regardless of what you're going to choose, ultimately will bring secure Wi-Fi zone to your customers and to the network infrastructure. The WAC, or the previous version, brings, for security, talking WPA and WPA2 encryption. The AX access points and the AXE access points bring not only WPA and WPA2, but WPA3 encryption. So just a little bit more security. Don't need to go into too much more detail than that. But just know Wi-Fi 6E and Wi-Fi 6, better security for all your security needs. Let's talk about multiple Wi-Fi SSIDs. This is where VLANs come into play, and our Wi-Fi access points help manage security and isolate and separate traffic to reduce security breach. And this is all can be easily set up through the Insight application. And then here we do offer an Orbi Pro series. Some of you may be familiar with our Orbi Pro. It's the business model of Orbi, which is our home version. The Orbi Pro has some more great features, such as being able to be managed via Insight. The Orbi Home is not able to be managed. The Orbi Pro does have capabilities of setting up like VLANs and different SSIDs and things like that. And if you haven't checked out our Orbi Pro, you really should. It's really a one-stop solution. It comes with a router, comes with X amount of access points depending on how big of coverage you need. It's all going to mesh together with the tri-band mesh technology, and it's going to offer a dedicated backhaul to make sure you guys have a very fast connection and the ultimate experience with that mesh capability. Okay, so let's talk about the BRX 100. This just got updated. We just found out it was in beta, but beta, it looks like they're having an issue with the chips still, unfortunately. So they've kind of put this temporarily on hold for beta testing, as chips, I guess the chip shortage is for that specific router was really being heavily affected. But luckily, we also have right now, we still have our Orbi Pro routers, which again will still work with the Insight application. Both will be able to do VPN with OpenVPN IPsec for your site-to-site connectivity. as well as a complete firewall. They come with your basic firewall, natting, state packet inspection. They'll do things like, let's see, this was supposed the BRX100 was supposed to have a dual WAN failover. Hopefully, will still be coming out, so we still get to see that. But sorry, I was just kind of lost my train of thought. With the VPN capability, with the Orbi Pro, that's right. I want to more talk about kind of the Orbi Pro. Does also have, this is where it comes in with the complete network routing features, DHCP server, setting up those VLANs and inter VLAN routing. So, I could kind of talk all day about how great Insight is, and I would say, you don't necessarily have to take my word for it. We've helped, I think, millions of companies create solutions at a fraction of the cost and complexity of other competitor vendors. For proof, just see a few of our independent reviews and customer reviews about it on our cloud management. We have, one of our reviews, his name is Jason from Hummingbird Network, says, in short, for smaller operations on a budget, Netgear Insight is a great addition and upgrade to existing software sets. Preet from G2.com said, we offer the best cloud-enabled network control at your fingers. So we've got some great reviews for it. Healthcare areas is big too as well. We have some great peer reviews on there, and they've said things like, hey, it's a great tool for cloud management of internet devices. An engineer at the manufacturing industry on a peer review said good performances, especially when on a limited budget. So ultimately, I'm going to kind of fast forward some of this stuff here. This is the heart of it, where I wanted to talk to about it. Ultimately, with Netgear, we know that you can get the similar solutions that are certainly reliable, but not all solutions have the typical SMB features that come from higher end solutions. But certainly, they don't. Higher end solutions pretty much have a high cost kind of an arm and a leg, so they're not really affordable. As far as easy to use, not really easy to use. You got to take courses, and you got to definitely really know what you're doing. Other solutions here, you can get a single solution that are affordable. They probably don't provide a total solution, and if they do, they may not be reliable, and may or may not really be easy to use. Only Netgear offers in the small to medium business solutions that are across the board reliable, affordable, and easy to use. Reliable because our technology, our expert partnership, best-in-class warranties and support. Affordable because we build infrastructure at the right cost and deliver a progressive solution without the big price. We eliminate training and consultant costs. You'll never see a Netgear ad at the Super Bowl, or really anywhere, that fact, because our advertisement, instead of paying for advertisement, we let our switches do the talking, in our name do the talking. And so that's why, and then lastly, easy to use. Our products ultimately significantly reduce installation time, deployment, and maintenance time. So we feel Netgear fits all three of these categories. Some more proof points in case if you wanted to go and check these out. A lot of these are available on our website, but the Tolly Group is a reputable technology evaluator. They praise Netgear's Insight, saying that is, quote, demonstratively superior, unquote, solutions for MSPs, VARs, and SMBs. And they did a test against Ubiquiti and Zyxel. We also did another report, the Microcom. Microcom is an independent lab testing company similar to the Tolly. And they tested us against Cisco's Meraki and Ubiquiti, and concluded that they said, quote, based upon our observations, we found that Netgear Insight Pro product line and cloud-based control provided the best value and an efficient group up, multi-tenant, multi-location platform for central management of SMB sites, and unquote there. A writer for Forbes said that with Netgear's Insight remote management system, it's possible to monitor and administer the wireless networks in a whole chain of business premises from almost anywhere in the world. The online community was very impressed by the ease of setup, saying things like, I'm very happy with my setup with Insight. Then Netgear's Insight products like the switches and access points are very affordable at a cost more than probably 50% cheaper, and more than 50% of the switches worldwide are sold over Netgear, kind of like we talked about at the beginning. And then again, 2/3 or 66% of networking traffic in the small to medium businesses pass through a Netgear device. So there's those links if you want to find those. Those are available on our website. Ultimately, the key takeaways that I will say is when it comes time to price, Cisco's going to be, Meraki's going to be quite expensive. Ubiquiti is going to be on the lower end. Netgear prices are slightly above Ubiquiti, around 10% or so. So we're just kind of right in that middle zone. Whereas when it comes time to the specs and feature set, Ubiquiti is kind of geared at the low end of the specs, and Cisco's at the high end with all its enterprise and features and specs. So where does Netgear fit? We fit pretty much at the top of that. We're slightly below Meraki. I like to say we do about 80, maybe even 90% of what their speeds and feeds that a Cisco Meraki product does. So ultimately, I like to call us kind of the Goldilocks zone when it comes time to networking. You get some great features with Cisco, just cost an arm and a leg. You get some Ubiquiti is a better price point, but if you can get that Goldilocks zone where you can get just about as much features as you really want from a Cisco Meraki that you feel you're going to utilize at the cost of more, slightly above Ubiquiti, you get the best of both worlds. And best thing is, biggest advantage I'd say is our warranty. We have a much longer warranty. Ours, again, like that limited lifetime in about 5+ years. Self-service RMA, longer MTBF, or that mean time between failures. So you're less likely to be down. Multi-tenancy capability we have, whether they don't. So ultimately, it's pretty much cut and clear why Netgear's Insight is the better solution, in my opinion. And that's pretty much all I have over here. Julie, let's go ahead and open it up to some questions. Hopefully some questions kind of came in, and I'll do my best to answer.
Thank you so much, Jordan, for that wonderful presentation. And I just want to remind everybody, when you go to YouTube to look up any of our webinars, I just want everyone to know to search for Microcom Technologies, all one word, so that you can find our webinars there. And again, that's just a special reminder. And yes, I've got some questions for you, Jordan. Let's go ahead and get started with the first one. Let's see. Is there any way to upgrade a hardware part on the existing router, or is buying a new one the best solution?
Yep. If you're talking about upgrade as far as getting Insight, you'll need to buy a new solution. We do upgrade. The only thing we upgrade with existing products is going to be like firmwares, but that's about it. So in order to make sure you've got like the latest speeds, the latest features, the latest capabilities of like the Insight, best to get a new one.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Next question here for you. For the next few months or years, looking down the line, will Netgear focus on consumer or business users?
That's a great question. Netgear obviously focuses, I would say, on both. I can't really say, I'm not on the high enough chain of command where I will know what the main focus is, but we're well established in the home, and so business is definitely one that we are wanting to still continue to grow in and do more development in. So if it were me, I would probably say we are doing a lot, probably more in the business realm, as far as just because there's more product categories. Like we just saw, there's routers, there's switches, and there's access points, all in the business side, whereas the home is just pretty much your routers and maybe some mesh. So if I were the betting man, I would probably say that Nick is going to be more focused on the business, but we do a good job at doing both.
Great. Thank you so much. Next question here for you. I know you touched on warranties. Can you give us a quick overview on your warranty Netgear devices again?
Yeah, so it's the warranties depend on the products that you go with. Some of our smaller Soho stuff, small Soho Office, our GS3 series switches may have a 1-year warranty. Our business class solutions, though, that are the GS7 series, that's the most kind of common switch that's used in business for switching. Those are going to be the 5-year limited lifetime warranty. Our access points that are in the business are going to be a 5-year. And really, I would say majority, it's either going to be a limited lifetime, so end of life plus 5 years, or a 1-year solution. But it's product specific. Lower end, just expect a lower warranty.
Excellent. So obviously a customer would, after they purchase whatever, they could, of course, find out where their product falls as far as warranty is concerned.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, 100%. All products bought through Microcom does come with 90 days free tech support. So that means you can call at any time and help set up your network or answer any questions there. But I believe also when you get the device itself out on the box or on the product, it does say with the warranty as well. Should at least.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I did not know that. Okay, next question. Of course, regarding Insight Pro. Are there payments due after the licensing on this?
Yeah, so how the licensing works is you will go and create an Insight account with Netgear. If you already have a Netgear account, it should also transfer with Insight. It's free to create the account. Once you have the account, if you want to add any devices that are going to be managed via Insight, you can either scan it on your phone through the app, or you can go in and enter the serial number on a desktop. It will then ask you what type of license that you're wanting. There are 2 types of licenses out there when it comes time to Insight. There's Insight Premium and Insight Pro. Insight Premium is for the DIY guys, for somebody who is a business owner but also wanted to manage his own network. That cost that is the subscription where you can pay through the app. It's I believe it's like $10 a year per device, so not per month but per year. And then you buy the licenses as needed. So once that year comes up, it will renew for another year. If you don't want it to, you can just go in and remove it and remove the card on file, so it's not going to renew next year. The Insight Pro is designed more for the MSP, and that's kind of what we were talking a little bit about here. The Insight Pro has a multi-tenancy capability, does where you can have multiple businesses and multiple locations of multiple businesses. Does have things like admin access, and you can give admin and owner access, so that's like a read-only access to reporting, and all those kind of good features. That's only available to be bought at distribution or through like a reseller such as Microcom. And so that price can vary there depending on the reseller who's selling it there. But probably at most you're not going to be looking more than $30 a year per device to have that management. And again, it's kind of the same thing. You'll enter the key and you'll renew after the period ended, whether that be a year, or you can even get a 5-year, or I think a 3 and a 5-year, the 2 other options that we offer. So great question though. It'll just automatically renew at the end, or if you don't want it to, remove the card.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jordan. Couple more questions. Next one. Do you have a 2-factor authentication for logging into the cloud network solution?
Yep, sure do.
Excellent. Thank you. Regarding, of course, Insight Pro again, are there different versions? Is there a free version of Insight Pro and a paid version?
Good question. So yeah, those two versions that I just talked about, Insight Premium and Insight Pro. As far as the free version, we do trial versions, but there is not a forever free version. The Insight Premium, if you wanted to get a good taste of it, if you bought any Insight capable device from Microcom, you go in and I believe it should come with a 1 year license of Insight Premium for free. After that 1 year, it'll drop off unless you choose to put in a credit card and get the next year license. So if that should answer that question.
Makes good sense. Thank you so much. Jordan, can you tell us, if we go to your website, can we find everything from tech support, if we need to, customer service, and of course, detailed product information, data sheets, and all of that on your website?
Yep, 100%. On our website too, just FYI, because we do keep the data sheets up for so long and we might be still upgrading firmwares and things like that, you probably would go on and see some product that is end of life. We don't keep, we don't actually, once a product goes end of life, we don't just remove it from our website just in case people still need data sheets or do firmware updates. But 100%, on our website, you can find the tech support number. You can find all the products that we have to offer, as well as what products fall under the Insight. Maybe like I want to see all these switches or access points or routers that will work with Insight Pro. Obviously, we have some older product out there that doesn't have Insight Pro, and we have, but everything else that is coming out new and the latest and greatest are coming out with the Insight software built in. It's the for sure thing that Netgear is doing for the future. But if you want to know if the device you're going to buy has the capability, it's on our website, as well as pretty much anything and everything that you need. Also know that Microcom is 100% there to support as well too. If you need them, if you need help from them, if you can't find it on our website, drop them a ring and they can give you the answer and loop in me if needs be.
Excellent. Thank you so much for answering all those questions for us today, Jordan. And thank you to everyone attending today's webinar. And if you have any further questions, of course, please feel free to contact your sales rep or email us at sales@microcomtech.com. And if you wish to view any of the products mentioned or shown today, you can visit us at www.microcom.us. And please remember, this webinar presentation has been recorded and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. And again, to search YouTube to find all of our webinars, please go ahead and search Microcom Technologies so you can find everything. And again, Jordan, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Until next time, Jordan, have a fantastic day.
Thank you.